This device might change VR locomotion forever. Neurosync Laboratories was nice enough to let me try out their C Infinity device, and I'm here to tell you about it, because I find this thing super interesting. So the C Infinity has been in development for around 7 years from what they were telling me, and they currently have a Kickstarter to get more produced. But I'm one of the first YouTubers to be trying this, so I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on my experience. Let's talk about the build quality. So some of the Pro version, it does feel like it's made out of good materials, it can be adjusted for different heights, and the coolest part is this doesn't even require power, just the USB to your PC. I was using a USB extension cord and it worked just fine. It is a little bit heavy though. I think it comes in around 60-ish pounds. So you want to place this in a spot where you're probably not going to be moving it too often. First and foremost, this thing can help with motion sickness, especially in games which don't have motion control support, like Cyberpunk, Subnautica, things like that. And now with the Unreal Engine VR injector, there are a ton of games playable in VR, but not all of them are going to work well with motion controls, and it's going to play better in a gamepad. That's where this device comes in handy. So it's kind of like a big gamepad controller that you sit in. It's not exactly sitting, but it is comfortable. The company behind this uses a lot of science, and it's very ergonomic for your body. I played around with this for a decent number of hours and it felt great. It's also better for your body because you'll be standing rather than sitting down. I have not experienced motion sickness for a couple of years now, but I do like playing Cyberpunk in VR sometimes with the Lucross mod. That does not have motion controls, and I've had to use a gamepad. Moving around in Cyberpunk with a typical gamepad feels a little bit weird, but with the C Infinity device, it felt very natural and immersive. There is a bit of a learning curve to using this. You have all the buttons on a typical game controller, they are in different places, and movement is different. You pull in to move forward, and to turn, you physically lean, which makes movement in these types of games feel much better than just moving a joystick. It also lines up with your motor cortex, which is how it's stopping the motion sickness. This means you'll be able to play games which you might not have been able to do previously, like fast-moving shooters, driving games, and more. They also have plans to increase the functionality of this device, like adding haptics in future versions, and they're even planning to make their own specific VR software. I also tried out some games like Skyrim and Fallout. They did work with this, but to be honest, I prefer just to use normal motion controls with those games, but I don't experience locomotion sickness. So is this device worth it? Right now there is a Kickstarter, and I do think if you're prone to motion sickness, this is a worthwhile device to have, and even if you don't have motion sickness, it's a fun way to experience VR games that don't have support for motion controllers. I'll leave the link for the Kickstarter in the description, and I would highly recommend checking it out if you're interested. What do you think about this device? Do you ever get motion sickness, and would you use one? Let me know.